What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Triple Z Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Henry. The Chicago Bulls trade Alex Caruso to OKC, meaning that Josh Giddey will be on the Chicago Bulls now. I want to start with the Chicago Bulls, who have been in a frenzy for pretty much the majority of last season. And I think something that stands out to most people when they think about this trade is, if you're Chicago, how did you not get any draft picks back at all? Like, if you know anything about the Thunder and Sam Presti, you know that OKC is loaded with multiple draft picks going into like 2032. If you're the Chicago Bulls, how do you not get any draft picks back in this deal? Because with Chicago, they're indicating that they're looking to start their rebuilding process over, going with a much younger guard in Josh Giddey, who will be 22 by the start of next season. If you're looking to rebuild and you got Kobe White and all these other young players that are doing really well for the Chicago Bulls, especially last season, even though Chicago was a play-in team, they still had some really good moments with their young players. How do you not get any draft picks? I'm really unsure about that. Because Chicago, there's just so many things you can nitpick about them. Let's start with Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball hasn't played, I want to say 2 years. He hasn't played basketball in a full 2 years, in 2 seasons. With the knee injury, medical staff has said they don't know what the problem is and why it isn't healing properly. There's a point in time where he wasn't able to bend it. He wasn't able to step on the court and be physically active with his team or by himself, going through certain workouts and whatever the case may be. But he hasn't played in 2 years, and he was best playmaker by far, your best playmaker. And he was really starting to become a quality defender as well. Like Lonzo Ball, when he was on the court, when he was healthy, was really showcasing to the NBA and specifically the Chicago Bulls fan base that he's going to get better and better with his IQ, his playmaking ability, his scoring. He became a much better jump shooter. As we know, his rookie year, he had that weird orthopedics jump shot. It was really awful, honestly. I don't know how he made some of the shots he made. His jump shot has improved to the point where he has to be respected behind the three-point line because he can knock it down at a high percentage rate. And bringing in Josh Giddey as the point guard, and Josh Giddey is known for his playmaking. He has to be in a system where he can operate with a lot of space. He likes to get downhill, he likes to take it coast to coast, and he also likes to get inside the paint and then make the playmaking decisions for his teammates. So bringing in a point guard like Josh Giddey, who has showcased, who had plenty of moments last season where he proved he can knock down a couple threes. He can, give you 20 points on really high efficiency. He can make good decisions with the basketball, whether in the pick and roll or in transition. So Josh Giddey, while he didn't have a amazing season, especially with the off-court situations and not being a factor in the Western Conference playoffs, because there was moments where he was unplayable. There was moments where he had games where he only played 12 minutes, where he wasn't taken seriously as a shooter from beyond the arc, right? So it was basically 5-on-4 because with Josh Giddey, if you just put him in the corner, the defense is not worrying about him. The low man is not worrying about Josh Giddey, so they're able to help more on SGA and Jalen Williams and all these other players and Chet Holmgren and, Isaiah Joe, all those players looking to make moves on the court. They're not worried about Josh Giddey, so the defense is able to lock in on other threats on the OKC team, which could possibly hurt OKC if they stayed with Josh Giddey. Pride Chicago made this deal because with Josh Giddey, you're taking on someone where like he was getting booed every arena, every away arena, he was getting booed. Boo, boo, boo. And players like to say, oh, it doesn't affect them, but deep down inside they know. It starts to take a toll on you mentally. So I'm surprised the Chicago Bulls are taking that on with having a terrible season. They didn't have a great season. They did not have a great season. Chicago has been trying to get Zach LaVine off their hands for quite some time now, and then he took the surgery. I believe it was on his knee or his shoulder or something like that. Obviously that didn't help Chicago. And matter of fact, honestly, there was moments where Chicago was looking really good, especially Kobe White. Kobe White he was great last season. There's a reason why he was like second in most improved player. Like he had a phenomenal season, whether it was scoring, assisting, rebounding, shooting percentages, minutes. Turnovers went down a bunch. Like Kobe White has shown like he's getting better and better and better. Having two young players like that in the backcourt, all right, that's Chicago saying like, hey, we're trying to rebuild. Now, with DeMar DeRozan, he probably wants a max extension. I'm not sure what the number is, what number he's looking to get. But if you're Chicago and you're starting to rebuild, do you really want to give DeMar DeRozan a max contract? I'm not sure about that. I personally wouldn't. I personally wouldn't. Like, I've come to understand, and I think most fans of the Chicago Bulls are starting to understand, like, DeMar DeRozan isn't going. I don't feel wrong in saying this, but DeMar DeRozan isn't going to be the number one option on a championship team. It's not going to work with DeMar DeRozan being the head honcho of the Chicago Bulls. Like, you have to scratch everything and just start over, hence why the Josh Giddey trade was made. Vucevic, I'm not even sure if he's on his last deal, but Chicago's just trying to break up that whole crew with Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Vucevic. Like, they've understand, like, the past couple of seasons, it has not worked to the thought process they thought it would be, like them making to the playoffs and going on a deep run. They made it to the playoffs once. I think they got swept by the Milwaukee Bucks. But other than that, they've either been in the play-in or not in the playoffs at all. So something has to change for Chicago. With Zach LaVine, there's like 15 possible trade scenarios for Zach LaVine. Like, it's not like Zach LaVine's a bum or anything. Like, he's a really good player. He's a really good scorer. He's been an all-star. He can shoot the three. He can, jump out of the roof. He's really athletic. But there's other options than Zach LaVine. Chicago, it's a decent trade. I don't think it's going to change life for you crazy, especially with the Eastern Conference possibly getting better because a lot of teams were not healthy in the playoffs, but like Tyrese Halliburton's going to come back healthy. Same thing with Julius Randle. Same thing with Jimmy Butler if he's still on the Miami Heat. So the Eastern Conference is only going to get better and healthier next season. For Chicago, I think you're thinking to yourself, all right, we're probably not even playoff contenders right now. Let's start from scratch and see what we can do. And I think that's the best situation for them. See what you can get back for Zach LaVine. Hopefully you can get some draft picks because I don't know how you didn't get draft picks when you're dealing with OKC, who has most leverage when it comes to draft picks. Like Sam Presti, he's looking 10 years into the future, hence why he has all these draft picks, hence why he made the deal with the Clippers to get all those, first round and second round draft picks and trade off PG. Like, Sam Presti is a man that's thinking ahead of time and looking to prepare himself with this team 10 years into the future. I'm not sure how Chicago didn't get any type of compensation or draft picks in this deal. It was straight up a player for a player. Moving on to OKC, this is a really good trade for OKC. Getting Alex Caruso, who shot 40% from three and is a two-time all-defensive NBA player, this only elevates OKC. And mind you, this is not going to be the first move OKC makes in the offseason. It's inevitable that they're going to be a lot more aggressive in the offseason because they have so many assets they can work with. Now, granted, they're not trading anybody like Jalen Williams, SGA, Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe. They're not trading players like that. But they have so many assets and draft picks that they can use to their leverage to make this team much better. Mind you, OKC was the number one seed in the Western Conference. They did make it to the second round and ultimately lost to the Dallas Mavericks, who made it to the NBA Finals. So OKC, we know this team is going to be around for a very long time, with SGA only going to get better. He's definitely going to, be in a lot of MVP conversations. Same Chet Holmgren being a big that can space it out, shoot a high percentage from the field or the three, can knock down free throws, can protect the rim, can be very versatile on both ends. Chet Holmgren is only going to get better. Jalen Williams, who's emerging as a legit two-way player in this league. He averaged, 20 points last season, was great on the defensive end as well. He's adding a lot more to his game to help this team overall as well. We know we got Lou Dort. We know we got Isaiah Joe. I'm saying we like I'm an OKC fan or anything. Like, I don't jack OKC, but I'm just saying, like, they got Lou Dort, who's one of the best wing defenders in the league. Got Isaiah Joe that's coming off the bench, an elite shooter that can hit 5, 6, 8 threes in a game possibly. And also, OKC is one of the youngest team in the NBA, if not the youngest team. Adding Alex Caruso, who next season will make it 8 years he's been in the NBA. That's experience that's much needed for this young OKC team. And also, he's a champion. He knows what it takes to get to that level. He knows what it takes to win at the highest level, which is winning an NBA championship, which he did in 2020 with the Los Angeles Lakers. So he has a lot of experience. And I feel like Alex Caruso is a high valuable player, but it was just being overshadowed by the Chicago Bulls and them having a terrible season. So now Alex Caruso is able to showcase, like, hey, I've been a really good player this whole time. I was just on a bad team. Put me on a great team like the OKC Thunder, who is in a tough Western Conference and made it to the second round in the Western Conference playoffs. I can add a lot more to this team than ever. OKC won this trade. OKC won this trade, but I think we should give Chicago time to develop their team before next season arrives. I remember DeMar DeRozan was saying, like, anybody that thinks we should break up this core is fools. Like, we're not looking like fools right now. We're kind of looking like geniuses because this team needs to be broken apart. There's no end goal like the playoffs or a championship for the Chicago Bulls if they keep this roster together. No shot. Absolutely no shot. But OKC, I'm more than confident in saying, like, this is not going to be their last moves. They're definitely going to make bigger moves in the sense of they're not going to get another superstar player. They just need small little pieces. Thank you guys for listening to a Triple Z podcast. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know down in the comment section what was your reaction to this trade, and I'll see you guys next time. Zzz.